Noise by Daniel Kahneman, Olivier Saboni, and Kassar Sunstein. Summary from 4-Minute Books, written by Maria Diak and narrated by Jonathan McGinley. One-sentence summary. Noise delves into the concept of randomness and talks about how we as humans make decisions that prove to be life-changing without putting the necessary thought into it, and how we can strengthen our thinking processes. Favorite quote from the author. To understand error and judgment, we must understand both bias and noise. Noise is a random mistake in our judgment. The book uses this notion to describe what humans often do without even realizing, and that is making apparently insignificant errors in judgment, which prove to be life-changing in the long run. By becoming better at spotting our own cognitive biases, our inclination to see the subjective perspective as a universal truth, and always questioning our judgment, we can learn to anticipate mistakes and avoid altering the course of our thinking, our actions, and implicitly our lives for the worse. Therefore, Noise by Daniel Kahneman delves deep into these concepts and teaches us how to strengthen our minds and improve our thinking processes. Here are my 3 favorite lessons from the book. 1. To err is human. Therefore, we have a natural inclination towards certain biases. 2. Humans make wrong predictors almost all the time. And 3. The wisdom of crowds is a real thing if the sample of people is appropriate for the situation. If you want to fully understand the lessons presented, keep on listening as I'll take each of them one by one and analyze them in detail. Lesson 1. Our biases can lead to life-altering decisions, so we must learn to spot them to be able to eradicate them. Naturally, all humans make mistakes. However, it is the degree and frequency of those mistakes that alter the course of our path and the lives of those around us. Moreover, if we are in powerful positions, such as heads of admission committees, judges, or any other profession that calls for neutrality and a strong mind that can carry cognitive processes almost error-free, we must eliminate the mistakes and the biases completely. Ultimately, it's a moral responsibility and not just a professional one. Therefore, to do away with biases and errors in the thinking process, you must first learn how to recognize them. A bias is usually used to describe one's inclination to devalue another human based on personal assumptions. However, a bias is just a systematic error we make in our thinking process, which ultimately alters our judgment. Although it's not the same as noise, it can lead to it. The types of biases are many, but let's take one in particular for example. The conclusion bias. Sometimes we have a desired outcome in mind, and therefore interpret all information and act in a way that gravitates towards that outcome. Naturally, this affects our judgment and the course of our actions. However, asking yourself questions like, am I true to myself in the decisions I'm taking? Or, am I being fair by indulging in this action? Can help you question your perspective and get back on the right track. Lesson 2. Humans are naturally inclined to seek closure and blindly follow a flawed gut when making predictions. Predictions are more accurate when complex algorithms and high-performance machines make them instead of humans. But that's not something that may come as a surprise. Still, why is that? In simple words, humans are prone to error and subjectivity, and we're way too confident in our gut's ability to make predictions. Our brain seeks answers to questions, closure, and that feeling of rightness. Therefore, we look for convenient answers that make us feel good and give us the closure we've been seeking. Even though they may not be the right one, a trained mind can get past the initial barriers of noise, such as the conclusion bias, and therefore seek the truth in the matter. Still, what if you truly don't know the answer? Imagine being a judge who has to decide for the lives of so many people and their families all the time, and being confronted with this huge burden without knowing which is the correct answer. Naturally, their mind gravitates toward finding an answer that feels right and gives them closure. Studies show that simple algorithms and basic formulas can outperform judges with years of experience when it comes to predicting the correct outcome of a trial and what the criminals will do. Why is that? Due to the noise. Noise can blur our judgment and allow the emotional factor to disturb our rationality. This is how we end up in objective ignorance, which is a state of mind where we're looking for satisfying predictions that fulfills our inner desire for closure, rightness, and the answer to a burning question.
Now, before we get into lesson number 3, I want to give a quick shout out to Shortform. Shortform aims to provide the most in-depth book summaries on the planet, and therefore, their extensive book guides cover not 3, not 10, but all the important ideas from a book. They even include useful exercises to make sure you'll actually implement the ideas in your life. If you're the kind of person who wants to get the absolute most out of any book they read, Shortform is the perfect tool for you. Use our affiliate link below this video to sign up for a free 5-day trial and secure a 20% discount should you keep your subscription. You'll also support the channel at no extra cost, as we'll get a small commission for referring you. Sign up today and start learning right away. And with that, back to the video.
Lesson 3. Noise gets cancelled by averaging the opinions of people through the wisdom of crowds. You may have or may have not heard of the wisdom of crowds, but either way, let me explain this remarkable concept in detail. In a nutshell, it states that although the individual opinions of people on a given matter vary and are sometimes completely opposite from each other, once you average them, the result is most likely the correct answer, or not too far away from it anyways. So, why is that? In simple terms, noise cancels noise. In various studies, averaging the answers of people who were asked the numbers of beans in a jar, the distance between two cities, or other different questions whatsoever proved to result in a value extremely close to the truth. However, to make this concept work, we must respect a few rules. First, the subjects must be independent of each other. Their opinions mustn't be influenced, and the question has to be the same and formulated equally for each participant. Then the crowd must be diversified in a way that they don't share the same bias. If they do, they'll gravitate towards the same answers, and therefore alter the effects of this concept through lack of diversity. While the wisdom of crowds doesn't guarantee a solution to the noise in our minds and a sure pathway to the truth, it's getting us one step closer to finding answers to burning questions and solutions for problems we find hard to fix.
Hey, this is Nick, the founder of 4-Minute Books, and if you feel even a tiny bit smarter after watching this book summary, you should watch this next one and discover even more tips and tricks on how to think better and get smarter from another expert researcher. Click on through and let's get started.